Welcome. You are with us this morning at How to Develop a Vibrant Local Gifted Community. Thanks so much for joining us. We know you have lots of different options this morning, cheerleading competition, other sessions, and it's 8 on a Saturday morning, so thanks for being with us. My name is Jennifer Bart, and I am a board member at large for the Boulder Valley Gifted and Talented Organization. And my role this morning will be to introduce the panelists and give you some background information about our organization. Starting mostly in this direction, I think a few people are out of order. Terry Bradley is our current president of BVGT. Terry, wave. Oh, that's right, we're supposed to wave. Just in case we're out of order. Ann Burkholder is our treasurer. Lisa Turner is in charge of membership. Trisha Carpenter heads up communications. Cindy Outlaw takes care of secretary duties and parent representatives. Rosa Medina, outreach, translations, and interpretations for Spanish speakers. Barbara Mitchell-Hutton is our president-elect at advocacy. Lynette Zickerman, programming. Jocelyn Gebhardt, hospitality. So as you can see, it takes many to make this organization work. The slide that you see here is our BVGT website. So you can go to the website or the NAGC Live Learning Center for additional information from this presentation and, of course, all the other convention presentations. So very briefly, I'd like to provide a bit of background information before the other panelists begin. BVGT is in its 6th year, so it's relatively young. It is a local affiliate of our state organization, the Colorado Association for Gifted Children, which is in turn our state affiliate of NAGC. BVGT started with a handful of people gathered at a dining room table and has grown into an affiliate organization we have today, drawing hundreds of people to all of our events. Our main focus has been parent and family information, in part because it doesn't duplicate any of the services that are provided elsewhere and because it transcends instructional models. So from the very beginning, we were committed to being a community-based and inclusive organization. BVGT purposefully decided to include public, private, charter, and home schools in the community. And since its initial structure 6 years ago, BVGT included board members representing both public and private schools. So for example, my role is a district coordinator for the Boulder Valley School District, and I also serve as a board member at large. We know that children often move in and out of public and private schools, and so it's important to have representatives from both organizations, and we know that all of these students are all of our students. There are many reasons to form a GT advocacy group. Boulder Valley has had other affiliate organizations in the past that were not sustained, and we learned valuable lessons from those iterations. You might want to consider those as you form an advocacy group. So number 1, find roles for an ever-increasing group of members and don't become person-dependent. Stay open to new voices and new roles. Number 2, don't form around a single issue out of dissatisfaction with a public school system or a private school system because there's no place to go, and that can really make a group unsustainable. Number 3, keep in mind the primary purpose of the organization. In our decision making, we focus on the shared vision and the children that we advocate for. So as I mentioned, I wear another hat, that of Advanced Academic Services Coordinator or Gifted Coordinator for the Boulder Valley School District. And although we are separate entities, we've partnered to provide BVGT with space to hold events. We provide teachers who attend BVGT events with professional development credits. And BVGT provides programs for parents that help me and my job and help the school district in terms of budget, time, and resources. BVGT is able to do things that me as a public school district representative can't always do. We work hard to keep the boundaries clear on both ends so as not to compromise our working relationship, and we address any concerns or issues in a timely manner, and we've successfully worked through them. And finally, just as a point of illustration and to tell you what great partners we are and how we work together, I'm actually taking the place of someone who was supposed to present this morning and called me early this morning and said she was ill and not able to make it. And because we work together and partner so much and know each other's roles so well, I was able to walk in here at 7:45 and take her place. So it is a true partner organization, and we're happy to share this model with you. Because it's a panel presentation, we'd like you to hold your questions until the end, and we do have time planned for questions. Thanks.
You did a wonderful job just stepping
Thank
in
you.
at 2:30 in the morning. It's a good thing somebody on the board suggested that everybody type up their notes, their bullet points in case somebody got sick. And see, we follow directions too, which is really nice. And we do help each other out. So I'm Terry Bradley, the president. I've met many of you in the audience now, and I'm thrilled to see how many different states are represented here. From what I remember, we've got North Dakota, Iowa, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Washington State. Any other states represented? Nebraska.
Alabama.
And Alabama, awesome. And Colorado, yeah. Wyoming, very good, great. Welcome. And you know, the other thing that I realized in talking to all of you is everybody has different policies about this. Some of you in your state policies, you need to have these groups. Wow. I mean, that blows us away because, I mean, we just started on our own, but it wasn't anything that was dictated or mandated. So anyway, that's really great. You have a leg up on many of the rest of us. So at this point, BVGT is definitely a well-oiled machine. We didn't always start out that way because, you know, you got to start small and you just take those baby steps. And when you see the vision of how you want to be, it takes a while to actually get there, right? I mean, this is our 6th year, I think. Am I right in that? Mm-hmm. And so I want to talk to you about how we started and how we've grown. We began when a parent in our community, in the Boulder community, said, you know, we need to have an advocacy group in Boulder. Some of the other states and districts have a group, we don't have one. So she invited a group of people to brainstorm ideas, and that's the dining room table that Jen was talking about. We literally sat around the dining room table thinking, why do we want to do this? What are the positives of doing it? What are the concerns of doing it? And we just listed everything. The people who were at the table were, as Jen mentioned, represented from both private and public school. We had teachers, administrators, we had parents, we had gifted and talented coordinators and advisors. So we just wanted to get everybody's input. And we discussed, as I said, the positive reasons. We found we had many more positive reasons than negative reasons to limit us. So we decided that we were ready to go for it. And we felt confident that we had a really good group of people who had the best interests of the community in mind, not just the best interests of their own child. It wasn't supposed to be a soapbox. It wasn't about, let's go storm the superintendent's office and tell him how to do his job. That's, you know, there's a quote that's, you don't get people in your corner by cornering them. So we needed to stay very positive and work together, and that's one of the reasons I think that we've been very successful. We've been able to do that. So find people who will be assets to your organization, not liabilities. Really seek those people out, invite them to the first brainstorming meeting because their collective ideas are going to be what propels you forward and creates the vision that you have. So at our very first real meeting, we nominated a temporary chairperson to preside over the meetings before we officially voted on elected officers. And one of our primary concerns was money. Well, how are we going to get money to do what we want to do? Because even though we knew we couldn't pay speaker fees in the way that speakers, you know, were used to being paid, we wanted to be able to pay them an honorarium. So we thought, well, let's start with $50. So if we have $50 for our speakers, we're going to have some refreshments at our events, and we need to print out flyers. How much money do we really need, and how frequently do we want to do these events? So multiply it by that number. And we thought, well, maybe our state organization gives startup fund money. Let's find out. Well, we found out that our Colorado Association did, in fact, give startup funds. Yours may too. So make sure you contact the state organization and see if they support this financially as well for you to get started. And you know, there's a very good chance that yours will as well, especially those states who it's a mandate anyway. The second meeting that we had was about setting goals and coming up with a mission statement. There are many of us that have mission statements that are affiliates. We've mentioned the website, and we've got a lot of great information, including our mission statement and bylaws, so you can look at what we've done, look at a bunch of other affiliates, and just really make it your own. Change things, add things to make it, pertinent to your community. So the third meeting, the second meeting, not only did we talk about goals, we did the mission statement, we also talked about what positions, how we wanted to structure the organization, what was really necessary in order for us to be sustainable. The third meeting, at this point we still weren't putting on any events, we were still brainstorming and collecting and gathering information. We discussed, we voted on the bylaws, we knew that we wanted to remain very credible in people's eyes, and it really shows that you're transparent. If somebody says, why do you do it that way? And we say, well, it's on this page of our website and this is what we voted on as a board, then no one person is responsible for the decisions that are made. And the other thing that we found when we went to the superintendent to say, we're starting this organization and we want to work with you. And the superintendent said at the time, Jim, you were at that meeting, he said, there are a lot of special interest groups, but I can count on one hand the number that have bylaws. So that was really impressive to him as well. Again, it keeps you accountable and it keeps you transparent. We got a lot of support from the public school doing that. So we voted in board members, we formed standing committees because we knew we needed to have leadership, so we needed to have an executive board. We needed to have programming, communications, and membership. Those were important places to start. We needed a secretary, a treasurer, and a president, and all the other positions that we could fill, great, but we knew that that was the skeleton that we at least needed. So we started with 7 board members. We've since grown to 13. We've invited people to BVGT, bless you, who have specific skills that they could bring to the organization and make it strong. For instance, Rosa introduced herself, and she'll be talking later about including the Spanish-speaking population. Very important. We have somebody who's in charge of making sure that we're communicating with the parents and having bi-monthly meetings with them. And we also want to make sure that we reach out to the teachers because they have different needs than the parents, of course, in an organization like this. So it continues to be really important to us to nurture a positive relationship with people in both public and private, and we have been working to get homeschooling representation as well on our board. So that's a goal for us. It's important to have those goals. And we want to continue to seek their advice and their guidance because we're representing them. We want to be there for everybody in the community. As Jen said, we share public and private school. We share kids all the time. We know that, right? Parents would pull their kids out of one school and plop them in this school, and 2 years later they pull them back. So we want to represent the entire community of gifted learners, not just public school and not just private school. So after a couple of years, we also had to develop a policy and procedures because we had some sticky situations that we just couldn't have envisioned happening in our startup phase. Things like the rules of running the board meeting. How often can somebody bring up the same idea? When we voted it down already. We needed to elect new people. How were we going to do that? How are we going to find these people? We needed to have a vote for what speakers were going to come and represent our organization and speak. So different types of information like that to promote on our website. That was a big thing. Many people wanted to say, I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. Can you put a blurb about me on your website? Or can I bring brochures at your events because I do this for students? So you need to have policy and procedures so you can point to it and you're not the bad guy, or somebody down here isn't the bad guy. It's something that the board has voted on, and that's our policy. So make sure to cover yourselves that way. We have an amazing group of volunteers, and we continue to move forward in a positive manner. And I think one of the best things is we remain a very credible source in our community. Thank you. This is Anne.
Good morning. I'm the treasurer of Boulder Valley Gifted and Talented. So once you formally decide to become an affiliate, what next? Check with your state organization for guidance, and if there's no state organization, contact NAGC or perhaps a neighboring state affiliate. You need to create documents, establish your board of directors, define how membership and funding will be handled by your organization. And the basic documents define the structure and procedures of your organization. So what are your bylaws? They list the name of your organization and your mission. Spend some time on these. These are very public and important documents. You don't need to start from scratch. Our documents are available on our website, along with the board member contact information in case you have questions when you get home. So what are the bylaws? They list the name of your organization, as you go along. You can also add more specific ideas and documents into policy and procedures and job descriptions. Just start with the basics to get your organization up and running. As your affiliate grows, review your bylaws and mission periodically and add additional board member positions and committees as needed. Next, consult your state organization or NAGC about how to register your members. We are in a joint partnership with CAGT. People who join BVGT are automatically members of CAGT, and if you join CAGT, they can select us as their affiliate, and then we get part of the membership fee. This is important because BVGT is a membership organization. The majority of our income is from membership fees, although we do receive some donations. Your state affiliate can guide you in registering your name or organization with the state, getting a federal tax ID, and how to define your nonprofit status. You've probably all heard of a 501c3 organization and probably donated to one as well. You may not have heard about the 30-page application, however. The major benefit of spending time and energy to apply for the 501c3 federal nonprofit status is that donations to you are tax deductible. In addition, many granting agencies require this nonprofit status. A drawback is that there are some limits to your advocacy work and then the paperwork and the requirements for annual reporting and receipts for donations. But for either type of organization, the basics are the same. If you're careful establishing your organization, you can always decide to become 501c3 later. Just create your mission and bylaws and keep track of your finances. BVGT is a membership organization, and since our funding so far through membership has supported our main goals, we are not considering 501c3 status, although in Colorado there are affiliates of both types. And next, Lisa will give you more information about membership.
Hi, as the membership chair, one of the things that I think makes this such a vibrant organization is that we are membership driven. As Ann mentioned, the majority of our programming comes from our membership fees that people join us. And so really our members are the heart of our organization. We gather members from the community. We happen to be in an area where there are several school districts around us, so outside of homeschooling families and private schools, we've got several different school districts that we reach out to. As a subset of CAGT, as Ann mentioned, we've got this great reciprocal partnership with them, and it really allows us to just spread the information just about gifted and talented, both newsletters from CAGT and from us. And so really a big piece of our goal is to try to inform people about what is going on and what being gifted means from the very beginning. We have both a traditional form, as you have on your chairs for joining, where you can actually use the real mail system or the former mail system to send in through checks. We obviously solicit memberships at each of our events, but we've got a spot on our website where people can join electronically as well. And that works both ways with CAGT. So and I think that that's a real benefit. When we get members, as you can also see from the forms here, we ask for some information about those people because that allows us to tailor what we're doing and also to solicit their involvement in our organization. So there's a spot that just says, which area would you like to volunteer in versus do you want to? We've got some future goals. We'd really like to continue to add more members. The more members we have, the more national and local speakers we can have come in. And we've had some amazing people. I'm sure that you're going to be hearing about that coming up. So one of the things we'd like to do is have it be kind of a social thing as well as a membership drive. So we're thinking about having a trivia night, possibly a wine tasting event. We would really like to make it some kind of a signature event in our community. So if you have any ideas, we'd love to hear from you on those as well. And it's just building this unified coalition of gifted advocates is a very powerful thing. Finding people who care about issues of giftedness, the nature and needs of gifted children, and are informed about the latest research support systems that are out there. National news related to giftedness is really important, and it really drives this amazing group of volunteers that we have here. And our goal is just to continue to add people to the voice of giftedness in our local area, and then that feeds into our state as well. So thanks for coming.
Hi, I'm Trisha Carpenter, and I'm the Communications Co-Chair for BVGT. I'm going to describe the what and why that BVGT strives to communicate, and then I will talk about the how. So I'm actually going to start with the why. In terms of communication, BVGT strives to cast a wide net. We constantly want to reach as many people as possible and to be as inclusive as possible, bringing people together, arming them with knowledge, letting them know they're not alone, empowering them to become advocates for gifted children. And we try to spread the word through any means that we can. So now for the what. So here's a quick rundown of what BVGT communicates to our community. Number one is awareness. So we want to raise awareness of BVGT as an advocacy organization. The second is membership. And Bart, you've been looking at this slide, but, oh yeah, here on this slide. This is a little excerpt from one of my newsletters about becoming a BVGT member. It's a constant reminder to our email recipients to either join BVGT if they haven't, or to renew their membership, because it's an annual membership. The memberships need to be renewed each year, so we're always having to remind people of that. Next, at the bottom half of that slide, you see some of our upcoming events. So our newsletters and emails are used to promote events, to let people know what's coming up, and invite them to attend our presentations, speakers, workshops, panels. And this is really primarily what BVGT is known for. In addition to the BVGT sponsored events, we promote other local events. So for example, I'm sorry, I'm skipping. No, so BVGT events, this is a little bit more. This is just another example of an email that I would send out. This is telling about an event that we hosted just a few nights ago. But so I send out email reminders in addition to newsletters. Okay, and the next slide is about other upcoming events. So this is a little blurb that was sent out about Parent Day and the NAGC Convention. So because there are many other events in the area, other conferences, speakers sponsored by other schools and districts. SANG groups is another example of something we tell our parents about. So supporting emotional needs of the gifted, the parent discussion groups. Next, we provide lots of information, additional content and resources on our website, such as this Gifted 101 page that has a lot of links and references to books and articles that might be of interest. And then the next slide, we also offer recaps of our past events in case someone wasn't able to attend and they'd like to know what happened at our past events. We include those in our newsletters. Book reviews, we've provided reviews about books that children and families might want to read together, gifted children, as well as books about parenting and educating the gifted. And one more. The question and answer is a new column that we've added to our newsletter where we solicit questions from our membership, and then we have a board member write a response, and we publish those in our newsletter and our website as well. And then the last thing I want to talk about is community, just giving people a sense of belonging to the gifted community of parents, educators, and others who are coming together to support the needs of gifted children. So that's the what, and I just want to now talk about the how. I've already kind of referenced it, but primarily through emails and electronic newsletters. I send out newsletters 3 times a year in the fall, winter, and spring, covering all those things I just spoke about. We not only send out the emails to our members, but also to our BVGT friends, people who've attended our past events and have signed up to be on our email list. And we currently send our emails to over 1,200 people. A lot of our information is on the BVGT website, so most of the slides I just showed you were either from our newsletters or our website. In addition, we promote information about our events in local newspapers, event calendars, other newsletters and publications, and school district bulletins. And Becky from our, who is a BVGT board member and one of our TAG district coordinators, sends out our emails. She forwards our information to her email list so that reaches even more people. I also want to mention social media. BVGT has a Facebook page, and we are experimenting a little with Twitter and Google Plus as well. I want to mention outreach to Spanish speakers that Rosa will be speaking about in a moment, reaching out to our Spanish-speaking community. And also I want to mention our parent representatives by BVGT disseminating information to parent reps at the various schools, then that information can go out to the parents at those schools. And Cindy is going to be the one talking about parent reps and also BVGT's internal communications. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cindy Alba, and currently I am the BVGT secretary. And before taking on that role, I served as the parent representative liaison, and I'll just take a few moments this morning to talk about both of those roles. I'm a secretary. I'm responsible for setting all the board meeting dates, drafting agendas and minutes, as well as general internal communications. Presently, the board meets quarterly. This summer, we also did hold a one-day strategy session to revisit with our mission because we are 6 years old and build some strategies around it. Also, as BVGT matures and the board grows and transitions, we're capturing our historical and institutional knowledge. To that end, this summer we put together board books specific to each board position to help transition in new board members. We will also begin using an online tool to archive all our documents. This will also provide a green option for those who prefer to be paperless. Excuse me. But we will most likely always be paper bound also. I would recommend deciding how you want to catalog all your information from the get-go. Now, as the role of parent representative liaison, I held that prior to being secretary. And I just want to step back and define what a parent rep is for you first. A parent rep is the communication link between BVGT and the parent representative schools. The parent rep works with the school's administration or gifted advisors to find the best way to get BVGT information out in the school, being respectful of the school's communication rules and privacy rules. There's no real term to being a parent rep. They're actually at the beginning of each school year if they're able to make the commitment for that school year. So as the BVGT parent representative liaison, we're the point person for those parent representatives. We are really mindful of the amount of emails we send out to these folks, so the liaison is responsible for those communications. Another primary responsibility of the parent rep liaison is recruitment of parent reps. We currently have about 60 parent reps from about 50 schools, both public and private. And to give you a frame of reference, in our public school district, we have about 60 schools. So we still have some work to do, but we've come a long way. When we're recruiting a parent rep, I built the role as a flexible, low-time commitment position. So it's a pretty easy sell. And it's a great way to find and build your community of support, which is mostly what people are looking for. Generally, once someone expresses interest, I follow up with a long phone call or a cup of coffee. While we have asked our school gifted advisors to help recruiting parent reps, honestly, today the most effective way is just word of mouth. This last year, we added a private school liaison to our board, and as a result, we've been attracting more private school folks to become parent reps. We want to make sure, as you've heard, the BVGT is known for its support of all students and not just public school students. Over the last couple of years, we've really grown in breadth to those 60 reps, and now we're trying to grow in depth. We're encouraging the reps to provide more than PR at their schools. We're asking them to help at events or possibly take on leadership roles in the future. Lastly, the parent representative liaison is responsible for organizing and facilitating parent rep meetings, which are currently held every other month. And we hold them during lunchtime, which allows some folks who are working to come over lunch and participate. At every meeting, we have our president who discusses what's going on at BVGT, our programming chair to highlight upcoming events, and a representative from the school district to tell us what's happening with gifted education at the local level. We also have started having guest speakers come. It could be the speaker for an upcoming event or another expert in gifted education, and that's really helped kind of increase our attendance at these meetings. Ideally, there will be time to share what's going on at different schools at these meetings so parents can talk amongst themselves. I do want to highlight again that these meetings are not a venue for people to come and hear their grievances about what's going on in specific schools, and that those issues are taken up directly with the school's administration. It is a venue to share positive things that can be adopted between schools, or what someone's PTA is doing and what could our PTA do. And typically we have about 20 reps at these meetings, and while attendance is preferred, it isn't mandatory. This position of the parent representative liaison right now is a one-year commitment, and if you choose to create such a role, I would recommend finding a person with strong organizational skills and a good degree of comfort talking with and in front of people. Thank you. And now we'll hear from Rosa.
Hello, I'm the liaison to the Spanish-speaking community, and I started volunteering with BVGT 3 years ago. The first thing I did was translating our flyers, parts of our website, and offering Spanish interpretation for our events. And to distribute the flyers at the school district required me to become certified through the language department, and but having a close relationship with the district was very helpful because it made the process a lot easier. I just had to take exam, and that was all. And then it's great that they lend us the interpretation equipment, which is quite expensive, and it looks like this. People wear headphones, and I talk on this machine, and it's great. And also, gifted advisors meet at the district once a month, and that's a great place to distribute the bilingual flyers at the schools. And through the district also, I was able to run a SEN group in Spanish, which was very successful, and I think it's a great format with the Spanish speaker because it's more interactive, so, and we like to talk to each other, so it's good. But just with the bilingual flyers, we were not being very successful reaching the Spanish speakers, so my next step was visiting schools. And one gifted advisor invited me to her school because they were having a Latino forum. And I went, introduced myself, and I got a lot of parents signed up in our contact list. And I did the same at a couple more schools. But the problem was that not many parents had kids in the gifted program, which was okay because there's a huge underrepresentation of Spanish speakers in gifted programs. But I wanted to reach families already identified, so I drafted a letter, and an advisor at a bilingual school helped me distribute that letter, asking parents to send us their information if they wanted to be contacted by us. And I got 9 parents signed up, and that was great. And because they are already identified, they went to some of our events, and they participated in the same group too. We have 47 parents signed up right now in our list, 20 of them with kids in the gifted program. However, most don't have emails, and that's a challenge because I have to make phone calls, and that's very time consuming. So, and we're all volunteers, so sometimes I feel guilty I don't have the time to call everyone. We don't have a big turnout at most of our events, at many events, but parents still say they want to create a community and be informed about our events. It can be frustrating sometimes not to have a big turnout, but I want to share with you a story that made my day recently. 6 months ago, 2 families called me because they found us through the Spanish website. And that's a picture from the website, that's why it's all in Spanish, and you can practice your Spanish. But I wasn't very hopeful about the website because many families don't have internet. But 2 families called me, one from Florida, the other from here, from Colorado. And this local family had a 2.5-year-old, and they were looking for resources for their daughter. So I invited them to one of our events at a private school that was hosting the event that day. And they met the director of the school, and he offered a scholarship to the girl when he turns 4. So that made me really happy, and it keeps me going. And and seeing the success of the website, I started a blog in Spanish with videos and articles in Spanish if families want to see or educators want to spread the word and show those videos. So I just started last month with that blog, and you can find it at the website, the Spanish website. There's a lot more to do, but that's where we are. And now Barbara will talk about the advocacy chair position, and she's our incoming president-elect also.
Good morning, I'm Barbara Mitchell-Hutton, and I was the advocacy chair, and I need to do my own stuff. The nice thing, Jen referenced this, because we are not the school district, we can do things that government organizations or the school district cannot do. So advocacy, the political advocacy, is a pretty substantial part of what we do. And in the past couple of years, some of the things that we've been involved in locally is that we have, every time there is a school board election, we sponsor a forum for the candidates and address issues of concern about giftedness. That's been really successful. We are always invited and have it could be improved, but a pretty active voice, I think, in front of the school board when there are issues that relate particularly to the GT program. People are there and making comments. And statewide in Colorado, those of you from Colorado know that the education funding has been continually decimated over the last couple of years. And there have been several either amendments to the Constitution proposed that would be seriously harmful to further damage the public funding. And so we've affiliated with Great Education Colorado, and we're active with them as they marshal forces in the state to advocate on behalf of public school education. So we were involved in defeating 3 proposed amendments a couple of years ago to defeat that. Those amendments were intended to further cut public school education. That would have been the result had they passed, and we were part of a groundswell of people who defeated those. And we actually worked to support Proposition 103 recently, which would have further actually increased. It would have that was the ones that were bad, and then it's so confusing. And so we're very active in that, and we communicate through email and through our website with members to help them know what's going on with that. And then not related to advocacy in the government sector or in the political sector, but it's so important. My background's in private independent schools. And we were particularly a school for gifted kids, but there are gifted kids in every school. And it's really important to reach out beyond the public school format. Our kids flow in and out. We were one of the first schools to work with Boulder Valley School District to do dual enrollment for a 10-year-old who went to high school to do math and science. The kid is now in his 3rd year of medical school, and on Monday he starts his neurosurgery rotation, about which he is very happy. And he is a kid who had the advantage of both private school and public school, and he also did early admission to the Colorado School of Mines. So we have to look at these kids not as proprietary products. They are kids who need our support no matter where they are. So please reach out to your independent private school community. There's a lot of kids being served there, and they need our support too.
Hi, I'm Lynette Zickerman. I am the programming chair, and which means that I help to run the events. Our programming is related to our fundamental mission with Boulder Valley Gifted and Talented, provides information and awareness about giftedness to our members and to our community. Very important because with our educational events, we are bringing people together. We are creating a sense of community. It's one of the greatest, most significant byproducts of our organization. And it's something that helps to bring more people into the fold. By bringing more people into the fold, you'll have more volunteers. We start with the parent reps, and we end up as hospitality chairs, advocacy chairs, programming chairs, presidents. So it's important to continually bring people into the fold. In the beginning, the first few years, we only had 3 events that were held during the course of the year. And we now average 1. So in some cases, we are holding multiple events a month for our community. And but what we're suggesting is that you start small. Recognize you're not going to start off hosting all these events and bringing people in from all over the country. I'm sure that you have a wealth of local brain trust that you can tap into to reach your community. So start small and recognize that your affiliate may have a different focus. We have a methodology for producing our programming, but we also have multiple speakers who have contacted us. But we start by identifying prospective topics and speakers, pulling from our community interests. So our community contacts us in multiple ways. They will email me, or they will provide feedback forms that we hand out at our events, providing them as people sign in and encouraging them to return them. And by that we receive information on what they're interested in, and also, as I'll discuss in a little bit, where they're coming from. So we have people who come up to us as well at the events, intrigued by the concepts that they have just heard discussed, and then it taps into some other issues that are going on in their families, in their schools, etc. We're also planning to utilize SurveyMonkey, so incorporating other technologies that are out there for identifying information from your community in a broader scope. We contact local people to present, as well as I was referring to earlier, bringing in speakers from around the country. As you may have seen earlier, we're up there again. Just across the hallway, we have Dr. Thomas Greenspan today, who's speaking on perfectionism. So he actually will be coming back out to Boulder. We're very lucky to have so many of these presenters, but excited about Dr. Thomas Greenspan coming out in March, as well as Dr. Dan Peters, who will be addressing anxiety. And we have a variety of topics that we will discuss, from the very niche topics of, as you'll see, eating disorders in gifted children, as well as gay lesbian issues, and also having our community leaders come in and present. So those are more niche, but then we have some larger, broader range ones that are of interest as well. And we have concrete issues, such as the developing organizational skills, to some that are more esoteric, such as friendships. And it's really important to cover all of these issues, and recognizing that some of them are going to attract a smaller crowd because they are much more niche. And that's okay, because you need to represent all of these issues that are of interest to the people in your community. But you will have a variety of these topics, and with that, you will need to break these into different venues, and you will have some that are more applicable to a large auditorium, and others that really require a more intimate setting, perhaps going into a library. We will vary who these programs address. So some of them are geared more specifically to parents and educators, and then we have some that are geared towards the children themselves. and to have them come and interact with their, in some cases, their parents, and as well as a presenter. We are trying to utilize current methods of technology, so we have done things such as a Skype event where we weren't able to bring a speaker in. Ms. Christine Fonseca, she's a very talented author that you may be aware of in California, and we couldn't bring her into Colorado, but we did have a Skype event, a workshop with children, and that was a wonderful event where interactive, so even though there she was in California, we had her books available, we were working with her, and her worksheets, and the kids were, she was asking the kids questions, and they were interacting with her. So that was exciting, and something that is less expensive, but also can broaden your reach and tap into some people who you can't bring into your community. We have tested RSVPs. Yes, they really help. It helps to gauge how many people are going to be there, obviously, but in that, help you organize how you're going to set up your venues and really how the logistics would work. We encourage guests to sign in. It takes a little bit longer to do that, but we are acquiring a variety of information that I believe is valuable for our entire organization and helping us to address who we need to reach. So we are learning where they're coming from, what organizations, what educational institutions they are affiliated with. Are they parents? Are they teachers? Would they like to receive some of our information via email? That's another way that we're able to obtain their information for our communications. And we also will find out, again, where they're coming from and what feedback that they would like to provide us. So they will be, at that time, we're giving them the feedback forms, and from that we'll obtain some additional information as well. Most of our events, majority of them are free of charge. Occasionally we will bring in a speaker and have a nominal fee, but we do request that people consider donating, making a financial contribution to the organization, because with those financial contributions, it helps us to afford to bring in speakers from out of town. And yes, the memberships help with that, but additional financing definitely helps the hospitality, it helps the organization of these events. We have developed a variety of community relationships to help spread our reach. And we have, along with the district, we have other organizations, health institutions, to a variety of schools and parent networks that we utilize to help our communications and spread the reach there. It's broader visibility for our events and helps us to reach more people, which is gives us a better ability to increase our sense of community. We also are able to receive some financial support, which again helps us to cover the speaker and organizational costs, and to provide professional development for our educators, because having that relationship with the Boulder Valley School District that enables us to provide these professional development credits for the educators who attend our events. So thank you very much. If you have any questions about flyers, I have some samples as well if anybody's interested in that. And here is Jocelyn.
My name is Jocelyn. For 5 years, was in charge of hospitality. And from that very first day around Michelle's table and talking about all the pros and cons of starting this, we decided hospitality was a vital part of inviting people out, even though they would benefit themselves, it would benefit their students, the information would benefit the whole family and really the community. But sincerely, when you walk in after a long day of doing whatever you're doing, to get yourself out, to go and be greeted by a table full of treats is important. Now, I am well aware that we want to leave time for question and answers, so I just want to say what any decent hospitality person, we have brownies. Okay? So after your question and answers, please come up for a brownie. Terry.
So to wrap all of this up, because obviously we have a wealth of talent and wisdom on this board and energy, And last night, many of us were fortunate enough to hear Deb DeLisle speak, and she's the new Assistant Secretary of Education at the federal level under Obama. And she spoke, and at the very end, Lisa, I'm going to shout out to you. Lisa asked this question: what can we do to support you and support your office? And she is definitely a friend of Gifted. She used to be a Gifted coordinator, and she said, be the strongest advocate for your kid all the time. And so I believe that's a really good way to conclude our event by reminding us all that by having a supportive advocacy group in our local community, we're not only making our surrounding area stronger, but we're also helping to impact gifted education on a national level too. So that's more, shot in the arm reason why you need to get out there and really rally your troops and get a strong advocacy base.